Hello everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Ariston and today we're going to talk about Python dictionaries. Okay, so before we write any Python code, let's go ahead and check if Python is installed in our local machine. To do that, let us open up our terminal. You can also use its shortcut key right here to be able to open this a little bit more faster in the future. Then you can type python -- version. If it returns a version number, it means that Python is installed on your local machine. If it doesn't return to you, you can open up your favorite browser. And here you can type python.org/download to download the latest version of Python in your operating system. In my case, that would be for Windows, and the current version or the current latest version at the time of recording is 3.12.3. And in the future, this might change. And don't worry, if your current installation of Python is a little bit lower, it will work still. So here, after you install it, you can type again python -- version to confirm if it is successfully installed. Now, if it doesn't show the version number, even if you are sure that it is installed, there are times wherein you need to refresh or close and open again the Visual Studio Code for it to show. So once that is done, let's go ahead and create a folder. I already created mine right here. I named it Python Dictionaries, and inside the folder, I created a Python file. So here, as you can see, the extension is .py. And in here, we have a couple of comments. So today, we're going to discuss Python dictionaries. And dictionaries are a collection of key value pairs. They are ordered and they are also changeable. So it means that after you created the dictionary, you can update or add items to it in the future. So there should be no duplicate members. It means that for the key, it should be unique. And for the key, you can pass any immutable types. You can say integers, floats, strings, tuples, and these are used for lookups. So whenever you are looking for a certain value, you can use its key. And for the values, they allow duplication. Let's say, for example, you have two key value pairs and both of them have the same value that is allowed. So it can be any data type: integers, floats, strings, lists, tuples, dictionaries, or they call it nested dictionaries, and sets, custom objects, or functions. So let us try and create a dictionary. So let's say, for example, let's create a dictionary with the name of user info. There you go. So to create a dictionary, you're going to use a pair of curly braces, just like this one. And here, we're going to pass a key. Let's say, for example, we're going to store the name of this user. So name. And then we're going to separate the key and value pair with a colon. So value, let's say John Doe. And if we have more than one key value pair, we're going to separate it with a comma. And here, let's say, for example, the age of John Doe is 30. As you can see, the value here is an integer. Let's create another key for email, a colon, and the value, let's say John Doe at gmail.com. Let's create another one. Let's say this is a Boolean, so let's say is active. And let's set this to the value of true. And then let's create another one, another key. So let's say hobbies, and this would be a list. So let's say the hobbies of John Doe is eating, sleeping, and also coding. There you go. Then let's create another one. This should be a dictionary. Let's say the wife of John Doe. This would be a dictionary or a nested dictionary. Let's pass here a key. Let's say name, colon, and then the value should be, let's say Jane Doe. Then comma. Let's say the age of Jane Doe is 29. It's like that one. There you go. And let us try to print out this dictionary that we have here. So let's say user and comma, and then let's pass the user info. Then let's try to print this out in our terminal. There you go. So it prints out the user, which is a dictionary with a lot of key value pairs. So we can also print the type of this one. Let's say print, let's say type of user info. And for this one, the type, we're going to use the type and pass the user info dictionary variable that we created and run this out. So let me just clear this for a bit and try to run this again. There you go. As you can see, the type of user info is a dictionary right here. There you go. So let's go ahead and let's say, for example, let's create another example. Let's remove this. Let's create a new variable or a new dictionary. Let's say song book. This dictionary would contain the song and also the singer. Let's say for the singer, that would be the key. Let's say John Denver. And then the song would be Leaving on a Jet Plane. There you go. And let's create another one. Let's say Frankie Valley. And for this one, can't take my eyes off you. There you go. Let's create another one. Another key, which is Bill Withers. And then the value would be just the two of us. There you go. So we created a dictionary with 3 key value pairs. So let's try to print this out. So this would be the song book, comma, and then song book. There you go. So we have the song book dictionary. Now let's try, for example, we want to access a specific value in the dictionary by using its key. Now to do that, let us try to pass here square brackets, and inside of this square brackets, we're going to pass the key. Let's say, for example, we want to get the song or the value for Frankie Valley key right here. So let's change this to song because we will get the value right here. So if we try to print this out, as you can see, the song would be Can't Take My Eyes Off You. Let's try to clear this out. So that is how you can access a value in the dictionary by using its key. However, what if we pass a key that doesn't exist? So let's say, for example, let's remove this. Let's say Frank Sinatra. And if you try to run this out, as you can see, it would return to us a key error. It means that the key that we pass, which is Frank Sinatra, is not in the dictionary. Now, we don't want our code to return to us a key error if we have a key that doesn't exist. Now, there are a couple of workarounds. So, clear this out. So, let's say, for example, you are not sure if the key really exists. What you can do is use an if block. So, if, let's say, Frank Sinatra is in the song book dictionary, what we can do is print the song. There you go. And we add here an else block. So if the first condition is not met, we will print Frank Sinatra is not in the dictionary. There you go. Let's try to run this out. And here it returns to us, Frank Sinatra is not in the dictionary because currently we don't have a key with a value that have a key of Frank Sinatra right here. So that is one of the workaround. We can also use what we call the get method. So here, let's close this out. Let's say we'll print the song. We'll access the songbook dictionary and use the dot to be able to get all of the methods. So here we have the get method. Let's say we'll pass here a key. Let's say Bill. There you go. And let's try to run this out. As you can see, it returns to us just the two of us because the key exists in our dictionary. Now let's say, for example, let's pass here the key that doesn't exist. Again, for the example earlier, so let's say Frank Sinatra. And if you try to run this again, as you can see, it returns to us none. So we can avoid getting the key error. Now we can also add here a default value in case the key doesn't exist. So what we're going to do is pass here a comma. And let's say Frank Sinatra is not in the dictionary, just like what we add earlier. This default value would be used whenever we don't have the Frank Sinatra as a valid key. So if you try to run this out, it returns to us Frank Sinatra is not in the dictionary instead of the none value earlier. So that is how we can try to find the key if we are not sure if that key still exists or does exist in our dictionary. Now, let's go ahead and work with keys. What are the other ways that we can do? Let's say, for example, you want to access all of the key. Let's say, for example, we can use the for loop. So for key in songbook, and we're going to print each key. So this could be the authors or the singers. If you try to run this one, it shows to us all of the keys that are inside of our dictionary. And what if we want to get all the keys but using a specific method? For that, what we can do is here, we're going to pass, let's say for example, let's remove first this for loop here, then access the songbook dictionary again and use its method dot keys. So for this one, it would return to us all of the keys. So let's store it inside of a variable and let's name it keys. Let's try to print these keys. And if you try to run this code, it would return to us this dictionary keys object right here. And inside of it is all of our keys. So let's try to clear this out. We can also iterate over each of this key that it returns to us using a for loop. So let's say, for example, let's remove this first and use the for key in the songbook dictionary dot keys. So we're going to iterate over each of the key in the dictionary keys object. Let's print the key right here. And let's try to run this out. Here, it shows to us all of the keys. So we iterate over each of the value inside of the dictionary keys that this method returns to us. There you go. Now, what if we want to work with the values or we want to get or access the values? So for this one, we can also use the for loop. So let's say for key in the songbook. For this one, what we want to do is print the songbook and we're going to use its key. So we're going to use square brackets and we're going to pass here the key that we get in each iteration of the songbook items. So here we're going to pass the key. And if we try to run this out, as you can see, we can get all of the values by using its key. Now earlier, we talked about the keys method and it returns to us the dictionary keys object. So what if we want to get all of the values now? So now for that one, what we can do is we can use the dot values method. So for this one, it also return to us all of the values, and let's store it inside of, let's say, values variable. And then here we're going to print out all of the values. If you try to run this code, we can see here that it returns to us the dictionary values object, and inside of it is all of our values or all of our songs inside of the dictionary. There you go. Now, just like what we have or what we did with the dictionary keys, we can also iterate over each of the items that this dictionary or this values method returns to us. So for that one, what we can do is use the for, and let's say key in the songbook dot values, and then let's print out, maybe for this one this won't be the key, this would be the value, right? So let's pass here value, and let's print out the value right here. If you try to run this out, there you go, it returns to us each of the value or each of the song. So that would be each of this one right here. So that's how we can iterate over each of the items inside of the dictionary values that the values method returns to us. Now let's say, for example, we want to work with the key and value. We also have a specific method for that as well. So that method is what we call the items method. Now the items method, if we use here, it will return to us the key and also the value pair. You can try to print this out also. There you go. So if you try to run this code, it would return to us a tuple with 2 items each. So we have the key, we have the value. Then let's try to maybe separate this into 2 variables. So inside of this, we can separate it. So maybe key, and then comma, then value. So if we try to run this out, we are able to separate the key from the value. So what we did is we are doing unpacking. We are unpacking the tuple that this items returns to us into 2 values or variables. We have the key and the value. There you go. So we now know how to access items or the key and the value. Let's now know how to add items into this dictionary. Say, for example, access the songbook. And for this one, we're going to add a new key. Let's say, let's add Frank Sinatra. There you go. And the song would be Fly Me to the Moon. There you go. And on this one, we're going to print the song book. So we updated the song book. We add 1 key. So let's say songbook right here. And let's try to run this out. As you can see, inside our dictionary, we have a new key value pair. Okay. So that's how we can add items into our dictionary. Now let's try to update. So how can we update the values using its key? Let's say, for example, we want to change the value for the John Denver key that we have here. So we can copy the key, pass it here, and what we're going to do is update the value. Let's say take the home country roads. There you go. And let's try to print this out. Print the songbook, comma, and access the songbook dictionary. If you try to run this out, here as you can see, for the key John Denver, the value is updated from living on a jet plane into take me home country roads. Let's clear this out. There you go. But we also have a specific method for updating. We call that the update method. So for that one, what we're going to do is here, let's access the songbook and use the method. So dot before the update method. And for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to pass another dictionary. So curly braces, just like this one. And then let's pass here a key value pair. Let's say Paul, Anka. So that's the key. The value would be put your head on my shoulder. There you go. Let's pass another one. So comma, and then the key again. So let's say Elvis Presley, and colon to separate the key and the value. Let's say can't help falling in love. There you go. And then let's try to print out the new value for the song book dictionary. So comma and then song book. We try to run this code. As you can see, we have two new key value pairs. That is the Paul Anka key and also the Elvis Presley key right here with their respective values. There you go. So we have another one. So let's clear this out. Now for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to print. Let's say, for example, we want to check for John Denver key. For this one, we're going to use the songbook dictionary and then use the set default method. And for this method, it would accept first a key, say for example, John Denver. And for the other one, we're going to pass here a default value. So let's say take me home, country roads. There you go. Now let's try to run this code. As you can see, it returns to us John Denver, and the value is leaving on a jet plane. So here, when we use the set default, when the key exists in the dictionary and have a value, it would use that as the value, or it would return that. However, if we pass here the key that doesn't exist, let's say for example, Ben E. King, and the song would be Stand By Me. If we try to run this, it shows here that John Denver, the song is, sorry, that should be Ben E. King. Let me remove this. There you go. Let's try to run this out. So let me clear this terminal for a bit and run this again. There you go. As you can see, Ben E. King and Stand By Me. So Ben E. King is not a valid key inside of our songbook dictionary. Therefore, it would use the default value, which is Stand By Me. Okay, now let's try to print out the new songbook. So songbook, and add here songbook, but let us remove this print right here. Remove this one, and then remove this one also. Now, if we try to run this out, maybe you can clear the terminal again before running this code. As you can see, the songbook dictionary is updated. We have here a new key, which is Ben E. King, and the value is Stand By Me. So the set default, it would first check if the key that we pass exists. If it does, it would return to us the value that is already inside of our dictionary. But if it doesn't, let's say this key doesn't exist, it will use the default value and it would use it and add it as the new key value pair inside of our dictionary. Okay, so that will be all for the update. Let's try to delete. Let's remove this one right here. Let's say we're going to delete the Frank Valley. So del and then songbook dictionary, and inside the square brackets we're going to pass the key. Let's say Frank Valley right here. Then let's try to print out the songbook dictionary, then songbook. If you try to print this out, it returns to us that the key of Frankie Valley here is not inside of this new dictionary. So we successfully deleted that specific key. Okay, so let's continue. We have a method dedicated to be able to delete a certain key value pair inside of our dictionary. So let's access the songbook. Let's say we're going to pop. So we're going to use the pop method. We're going to pop the key of John Denver. So if you print out the songbook dictionary again, and here we're going to use a comma and then songbook. If we try to run this code, it would return to us the dictionary, but it doesn't have the key of John Denver and also its value right here. So it would start from Frankie Valley. So let me clear this out. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on to the next one. What if we want to store the value of the key that we popped? Let's say let's store this to a variable, let's say song, and print out this song instead of the songbook dictionary. There you go. And we get the value, which is living on a jet plane. So you can also store the key or the value of the key that you popped. Okay. Now, what if you pass here a key that doesn't exist? Let's say Ben E. King. So currently this key doesn't really exist in our code or in our dictionary right here. So if we try to run this out, what would happen is it would return to us a key error. But to be able to prevent the key error, what we can do is pass here a default value. So let's say stand by me. And if you try to run this out, as you can see, it would use that default value right there if we don't have the key of Ben E. King. Now we have another method. We call that the pop item method. Now this pop item method allow us to be able to delete. There you go. So it allows us to be able to delete the end key. So let's say print songbook, comma, and then songbook right here. So if we print this out, as you can see, we don't have the Bill Withers key and its value. So the pop item would delete the last key value pair. Okay, you can also store the key and the value that you popped. Let's say, for example, let's add here singer and song. Then let's use this. And here, let's say singer and song. We try to run this code. As you can see, the item that we popped is the last item, which is Bill Withers. And here you can see it returns to us the singer or the key and the value inside of a tuple. And then we also have what we call the clear method. And as the name suggests, it would clear out our dictionary. So let's say songbook.clear. And if we print our songbook again, so comma and then songbook, we try to print this out. It returns to us a dictionary with no key value pair inside of it because we cleared it. Now let's talk about another method. So this is the from keys method. So let's try to maybe delete this out. There you go. And let's create here a list. So singer or singers. And let's say, for example, Ed Sheeran. And then Let's add here another one. James Arthur. These are one of our famous singers nowadays. Let's add here, say for example, use the dictionary, then from keys method. Here, the keys that we will pass is the list of singers. So singers here, and we can say that we can store this inside of a variable second song book. There you go. And let's try to print out this new dictionary, which is second song book. And if you try to run this out, as you can see, inside of this list that we have here, we have the singers. And on this list, it will be used as the keys, but they don't have a value yet, so it would return to us none. Now, we can also change the default, which is none. We can change it to a different value. Let's say, for example, instead of none, we will be saying will be updated soon. And if you try to run this code, let me clear this out and run it again. There you go. The default value now is will be updated soon. So maybe this can mean that in the future, we will add the songs that for the values of the dictionary. So that is dictionaries in Python. So they are a collection of key value pairs. And after you create them, you can modify, you can also add, update, and delete the items inside of the dictionary. And I hope you learned a lot in this video. And if you do, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the One Code Camp YouTube channel. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.